Heard you.
Boom shaka laka. You already know the vibery. It is who run the city. It is tea time. It's Big Fan Breezy. We are in the
Mm-hmm.
building. You know what I mean?
Sir.
Uh I'm gonna let you start off since you had a game last night, Playboy.
Well, I'll start off with the predictions like we always do around this time.
Yeah.
I was wrong. We were 1-2, but both teams did take care of business with the Clippers. James Harden didn't get no ovation. Came here, got that work like he was supposed to. He was getting booed that whole night. PJ Tucker is disliked by the Nets fans because he hurt Cam Thomas. He felt like it was intentional. That would impacted our team in the worst way. We don't have nobody to run the offense. Nets fans are on the fence about if Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson is a good duo or 1 and 2. It's a lot of uproar in the Nets fan base right now. We upset with Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges. Didn't like the showing that we seen last night versus the Celtics in the in-season tournament game. We are 1-1. We beat Chicago, but we lost to the Celtics. Um, and my predictions was 1-2. I thought we had a fighting chance versus the Bucks, but they ended that. They closed that game with free throws for the most part. I thought the refs were a little hard on us that game, especially towards the end. I thought we competed, and Cam Thomas had like 45. He's a proven bucket. I'm not about to get in this conversation right now because he's hurt about whether or not he's better than Quentin Grimes. I feel like he is. I feel like he's the best scorer in the city. And I took this abroad, and I didn't necessarily get a yes, but I still feel like he's past he's past the scoring ability of a Quentin Grimes, regardless of what it is, and a Quickly. The only one that would be in conversation in the city would be a Jalen Brunson. And the conversation would be who is the better scorer out of the two. I feel like Cam Thomas is even a better scorer than Julius Randle. Now, again, it's only a small sample size, but if we were to contrast his stats, it would be only 7 games. So it's kind of, I won't say disingenuous, but premature is a better word. It's premature to contrast Cam Thomas season 7 games into the season to a whole 82 game season to anybody. But that's my opinion. I feel like he showed a lot of promise, and Nets fans got big confidence in the Brooklyn Nets up when you know what I'm saying, Cam Thomas come back. For right now, we are looking at Jack Vaughn and his rotations. For the most part, he's been running a 9-man 10 rotation. There's certain guys on our roster that earned minutes. That's a Trendon Watford. That's a Armani Brooks. These guys off the bench. We got, in my opinion, one of the best benches in the Eastern Conference at minimum. I haven't been watching the entire NBA, but I do know that our bench be putting up like 40 points, 50 points. I don't know how many benches are doing that. That being said, shout out to Trendon Watford. Shout out to Harry Giles. He got some minutes. It was quote unquote garbage time when he did last game, but he hit an open three. So it shows that he could stretch the floor, and he had two baskets near the paint, and it shows that he could play with his back to the basket. So hopefully he's somebody that can get minutes while Nick Claxton is out. Our 4-5 record, in my opinion, reflects that we don't have a healthy roster in the beginning of the season. Claxton being one of the main guys that hurt us on the defensive side of the ball. I, in the offseason, said that we will be top 10 defense, and that has yet to be true. And I feel like that's largely part to Claxton not being in the lineup. That being said, you know, every player that's not in the rotation, Jock Vaughn has to make the adjustment for another player to be in the lineup with the rotation that he thought he would have in maybe the first 10 games. And on the fly, I feel like he's doing a magnificent job. With 4-5, we could I had some games that we could have won. I've definitely feel as a fan there's some other things that we could have did to win some of those games. I feel like instead of being 4-5 right now, maybe we should be 6-3. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, as a fan. So, we're not perfect, but we're a competitive team. And I think the tougher part of our schedule was these first 10 games. You know what I mean? We played in our first 9 games, we played the Celtics twice. We played Milwaukee. We played the against the championship contenders in the Clippers. So that's quote unquote 3 championship contending teams, far as schedule wise, like far as competitive, And I just felt like in the first 10 games, we did all right. You know what I mean? I feel like we as fans should be confident going into these next few games that I'll get into after tea time. Have his Knicks spill, but in these first 9 games, I'm not mad. You know what I mean? I feel like we could have been 6-3. That's true, but I'm not mad, and I like the direction that Jacques Vaughn is going about opening up the bench. And part of the success of the Brooklyn Nets is him playing a non-10-man rotation. So I'm confident getting into these next games. I'll get into the schedule after tea time starts. But talk to me, Tom. What you thought about what was your predictions from
Uh,
how correct
yeah.
were
So
I
my
was one.
predictions on against the Brooklyn Nets was wrong. I had y'all 0-3. Y'all won
Mhm.
one. You know what I mean? Brock, don't do that. I was wrong about the Clippers game, but I was right about the other two. Relax, my boy. But yeah,
The Brock
uh,
were.
it was a lot. You said a lot. You know what I mean? I don't even really care enough to argue if Cam Thomas is better than Quentin Grimes. I'll let you have it. Cam Thomas is better than Quentin Grimes. Congratulations, right? Uh, but what I'm not gonna let you do is try to compare him to to Julius Randle and or Jalen Brunson. He didn't put in enough work yet. You know what I mean, ain't enough work. It's one thing to have some spurts of games where you score high numbers, but it's another thing to do it through a whole 82 game season. Until he does that, don't do that. That's nasty work, right? So let's just leave that there. That's nasty work, right? Uh, I will, I never really be like, yo, give people excuses for injuries, but I will understand why y'all not playing as well as y'all can. You know what I mean? I do understand why y'all not playing as well as y'all can. And y'all play some really tough teams this week, understaffed. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? Like, what the end results was kind of expected considering what your injury report looked like. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So moving on to Knicks stuff, I said that we was gonna be 1-1. I was wrong. We were 2-0. We were 2-0, beating the Celtics and I mean Celtics, excuse me, the Clippers and the Spurs. And these wins were important to me. Uh, one because I felt like James Harden premiering his Clippers debut being in Madison Square Garden was kind of on purpose. I felt like they was trying to come to Madison Square Garden on the biggest stage and try to show off a little bit. You know what I mean? And I love the fact that we absolutely spoiled that party. Uh, those guys with all their superstars was on the bench with 4 minutes left in the game. They got packed up early, uh, and was looking befuddled, bewildered, and confused. And same thing goes with the Spurs game. I get into more details about the game, but I'm just getting into the overall philosophy of people coming to the Garden and thinking this is going to be their coming out party. Uh, Same thing for Wembyama. Watching the ESPN pregame and everything leading up to the game, it was the Wembyama glaze fest. Pause. Right? The pregame they
Yeah.
were predicting Victor Wembyama to. Yo, I've literally heard them say, yo, on the panel in the pregame, they were saying that Wembyama was going to have numbers like 35, 15, and 5 blocks against the Knicks. This is what they were saying, bro, in the pregame. And I'm like, wait a minute, Mitchell Robinson hurt? Like, what's happening? One of the best one of the best uh defending fives in the NBA is hurt today. Like, what's happening? What makes you think? But anyway, I was happy that we spoiled Wembyama's, coming out party. You feel me? And it just goes to show the toughness of this team over the last week. Uh, RJ Barrett has been an absolute revelation these last 2 weeks. I mean, the whole beginning of the season, but in particularly the last 2 games, I think he's averaging like, hold on, give me a second. I got my stats. Uh,
Who averaging? Who you talking about? Mitch Robinson?
nah, RJ Barrett in the last 2 games is averaging 25, four rebounds and 5 assists on 51% shooting from the field and 53% from the 3-point line. RJ Barrett is absolutely balling out this whole beginning of the season, to be perfectly honest. And he's been like the engine to get the offense going. When he was injured, with Julius Randle at that time still trying to find his offense, and likewise Jalen Brunson still trying to get in the rhythm. RJ Barrett's been kind of carrying the offense of the team, and this week was no different. The way that he's mixing up pace and getting to the cup, his 3-point shooting is way better than it's ever been in the beginning of the season, his whole career. Uh, Good. I mean, I can't say enough about RJ Barrett. Uh, Julius Randle, the last 2 games, has been playing better. Yeah, I mean, I still want his efficiency to get up, but he's been averaging 25, 13, and 25, 13, 25 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists on 42% shooting from the field, 35, 36 from the 3-point line. Again, I want his efficiency to get up, but it's good to see that the baskets are falling for him. And 25, 13, and 4 is kind of a tough stat line, bro. Like that's big boy numbers. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So far in this season, there's only one other person that got more double doubles than Julius Randle, and that's Luka Doncic. Even with Julius Randle struggling, he's still being productive on the basketball court, right? Jalen Brunson so far has not had as great of a season as we are accustomed to. Uh, Over the last 2 games, he averaged 16, 3 rebounds and 2 assists. 20. I'm on 32% from the field and 54% from the 3-point line. I'm not worried about Jalen Brunson. His last game against the Spurs, he had 25 though. Uh, I'm not worried about Jalen Brunson. I know because the shots that he's missing are shots that we all know he can make. Uh, and it's only a matter of time before he get in the rhythm. And when he do, having 2 guys that can average 20, close to 25 points a game on your team is amazing. And Mitchell Robinson, I'm sorry, I know I'm being long winded, but Mitchell
Nah,
Robinson,
continue. That's why we're here.
Mitchell Robinson is continually being a revelation when it comes to what he's doing this season, being the defensive anchor on the number 2 ranked defense in the NBA thus far. Uh, he's a top 3 rebounding team himself, offensive rebounding team himself. Mitchell Robinson himself is a top 3 offensive rebounder himself. The next guy underneath him when it comes to offensive rebounds, I think is like 20 something below or something like that. 20 or 30 something offensive rebounds below him. Uh, I absolutely dominating the boards, and it's consistent. And it's not just the boards; it's the deflecting passes. It's the now he's understanding that I might not be getting, alley oops off pick and rolls. So when I get these offensive rebounds, I'm being aggressive and I'm going back up with the ball. He's causing foul trouble, and he's a little bit better with his free throws. Still not great, a little bit better, right? Uh, yeah, Mitchell Mitchell Robinson, that's a fact, Leaf. Mitchell Robinson is absolutely the best offensive rebounder in the NBA. And I could go on about the bench mob. I'm going to quickly go over the bench mob. Dante DiVincenzo has showed on multiple occasions this season why we spent the bread on him. It's not just about scoring. It's about all the little things that he do to get to help the team win. It was a turning point in the Clippers game where we started opening up the game where he went and housed somebody from an offensive rebound. I think it might have been the Claw. He came from the 3-point line, swooped in, grabbed the offensive rebound, kicked it out, relocated, got the ball back, splashed for a 3, and it started. Then I think he turned them over right after that. And it was all downhill for the Clippers after that. And that's literally what Dante DiVincenzo does. That's why he's a Knick. Josh Hart, you know what he does rebounding and defense wise. I mean, I could go on all day. You feel me? But I won't. I'm gonna I'm gonna land the plane. I've been long winded already. But you know, 2-0 over the last week. We are 4-4 now. Uh, we play the Hornets next. You know what I mean? And we're gonna get into that later. But yeah. I digress.
Um, yeah, to add to Barry's question, he asked me, do I believe in Bridges and Camp still? My assessment is only off of one game. They have only clocked one game this season out of 9 games, and that was last game. And they were underwhelming. And if they play like that, no, I'll have to say they are not going to be a top 10 duo in the NBA. Together they shot 8 for 24. That's just not going to cut it. They got to be way more efficient in choosing their shots. They got to be more aggressive in their shot selection, not just settling for what the defense is giving. That being said, I got big confidence in them as a duo, and they're going to have to prove themselves without Cam Thomas being on the floor. Cam Thomas is out for 2 weeks, so he will be back around that, I think, Atlanta game. Was it the Atlanta game? It was like, what game was it? Let me check. But case in point is not the harp on the game that it is. While Cam Thomas is not there, they're going to have to step up on the offensive side of the ball. And if they're going to play the same way that they did in those 28 games in the last part of the season, then yes, they can be a top 10 duo. And that's pretty much where I got my assessment from. And then them going to the FIBA and them having the experience. But to answer your question, after one game, do I assess them as a top 10 duo? No. More the duo for our team is the Cam Thomas and Mikal Bridges. That game that Cam Thomas had 45, Mikal Bridges also had 31. You had mentioned spend bread, and again, same thing with Lonnie Walker. We glad we spent $2 million for Lonnie Walker. You know what I'm saying? He's one of the better players, and I feel like he's going to be in big conversation, big MIP, not MIP, big 6-man conversations. He's going to be in the conversation. Now, I'm not saying he's running away with it, but at the same time, for his productivity, for it to be 2 million, for him to be the guy that we were going to while Cam Thomas was healthy and not have any dry spots when Cam Thomas went to the bench. Like we had no dry spots, no problem on the offensive side of the ball. If you look at the Nets, we are top 10 offense with Cam Thomas and Lonnie Walker out there together. DFS, he's been hitting his shots. You know, he's been more efficient opposed to what you've seen last season. So there was some good things that stood out, despite the 5 losses. And I honestly feel like Lonnie Walker is going to he's somebody that could start somewhere. You know what I'm saying? The Brooklyn Nets is lucky to have him, and that's just sums it up. You feel what I'm saying? Armani Brooks, he's somebody that's going to get clocked. He's somebody that could definitely play the game, but I don't know how consistent his minutes are going to be, but I do imagine it's stepping up with Cam Thomas not being in the lineup. We have to do something in that situation. We can't make Royce O'Neal guard. You know what I mean? We already making him a center, which is crazy. They got him listed as a power forward. He's 6'6". But anyway, Dariq Whitehead, if you guys are really fans of the Nets, and y'all know that Dariq Whitehead is somebody that we're big on, pause, and he's played his first Long Island game, and I heard he, pretty much had a good game. So we gonna see Dariq Whitehead in the rotation. I don't know when, but probably somewhere around January, I guess. Jalen Wilson dropped 33 and 10 in the G League. He's somebody that can help out the Brooklyn Nets until we have a healthier roster. So I said all that to say, look for Jalen Wilson to come up from the Long Island Nets to play with the Brooklyn Nets. Look for Trendon Watford to get more minutes. He's definitely somebody who stepped up since Ben Simmons has been under stellar as a Brooklyn Nets. As a matter of fact, I I am on the fence about Ben Simmons. As you all know, I always advocate for the players on the Brooklyn Nets because they are players on the Brooklyn Nets. However, what I will not have is my integrity compromised. First off, Ben Simmons, you weren't even there to play versus the Celtics. We need you to be available for me to even critique your game being bad or good. I don't need to see Ben Simmons to play 55 to 60 games. I'm not expecting him to come back from an injury like that and clear 65 games, honestly. But I do expect to see him. Come on, man. It's the first 9 games of the season. If you miss the back-to-back game, either one of them, the first one or the second one, I'm cool with it for rest. And management, load management. I'm good with that to prevent an injury. But for you to miss that Celtic game, it shows that you're on deck, but you're not necessarily leading the ship, and that's fine because that's Jacques Vaughn's job in the first place. But we need you to be consistent. We need you to be available. I mean, I can't even critique your game because you weren't there. But on a night where we go on versus somebody like a Jason Tatum, we need that. That's exactly who we need you to guard. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly why you're on the team, to guard the best offensive player on the opposing team. And if you're not there to say you got that work or not, it's like, damn, man, you're not even available. So as a fan, it's a little frustrating because I feel like in the era with Katie and Kyrie, we had them on the team more on paper than we did actually playing basketball. And as a fan, it's annoying because as a fan, you still get the expectations of what we supposed to do with them on the team. But if they not of they on the paper on the team, but if they're not actually playing basketball, that means they're not gaining the chemistry, the camaraderie, the all of that stuff that comes with actually playing the game. They just work at the job, but you got to show up to work. So that being said, this is how I feel about the roster. And again, don't let me leave without emphasizing that Lonnie Walker is a steal and somebody that we're going to take serious going forward from now on. I think that we sign him to a big contract. You know, some way or another, they could find a way to trade Ben Simmons. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm not saying that I want it to happen. I'm just saying if they did, I wouldn't lose sleep. Shout out to Ben Simmons. I hope you step your game up. Shout out to CJ. I hope you step your game up. DFS stepped up. Spencer Dinwiddie. Some nights he's great. Sometimes he's like, eh. So it is what it is. It's just like he's. I don't know if we serious about keeping Spencer Dinwiddie, to be honest with you. But we need Harry Giles to step up. Definitely need Royce O'Neal is Royce O'Neal. You get the good and the bad with Royce O'Neal. You know what I'm saying? He's one of those players you be high on him or low on him, pause or whatever. But he's definitely somebody that's available for the most part. And at the end of the day, I appreciate the availability that Royce O'Neal brings. Plays big minutes and he doesn't miss a lot of games. So, you know, and yeah, I'll get
Yeah.
into the
So
schedule next, but I'm pretty sure you wanted to get into something. So,
so
uh,
I wanted to, talk about some stuff that you said. Well, going back to Cam Thomas and his scoring. He has a losing record when he's above when he scores more than 30 points. I think he's like 2-4, some shit like that. I saw it when he scores more than 30 points.
mm-hmm.
Scoring is nice. But when your scoring don't lead to W, I mean, if it was on my team, I wouldn't care. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care if you scored.
It's a jaded opinion, but go ahead, continue.
I don't care if you scored 40. Like, you always heard me talk about guys on the other team. I don't care if you score 50 if you get the L. You know what I mean? Like, we could give up 50 to a player, and as long as they get the L, nobody cares. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Just like Giannis just dropped 56 on who he dropped 56 on the Pacers, and they lost. You feel me? Nobody cares anymore that you dropped 56. You lost. You feel me?
I'm waiting to counter to that though.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not denying that the kid's a bucket, but his buckets are his big offensive explosions more times than not do not lead to the W. You know what I mean?
I'm ready to
And
bug.
I'm not sure if it's his fault or it's the team's fault. Like, I'm just saying, it's just a matter of fact statement, right? Like, as a matter of fact, every time he scored, he's 1-3 this year. To my point, you know what I mean? It's just a matter of fact statement. Not saying his fault. Not saying it's the team's fault. I'm just saying matter of fact. But as far as Ben Simmons go, bro, he's broken, bro. He's broken. I'm not allowing anybody. Not saying that you were. You know what I mean? I'm not allowing anybody to give this man excuses because I heard all off season that how he was 100% healthy and he's ready to play basketball and he's ready to get back to being an all-star caliber player and all this other shit. I've heard it. I've heard you sit here and regurgitate these quotes from him. You know what I mean? Not saying that you believed it. I'm just saying you reported the quotes that he stated that he was 100% healthy and he was ready to get back. And it hasn't gone his way so far this season. and he's already starting to miss in action. Like he is broken mentally, bro. I don't think it has anything to do with his ability because he still does the things that we know he could do. He just like we know he could rebound, we know he could score, but I mean, you know he could rebound, you know he could defend, but he's scared to score. You know what I mean? And y'all need him to do those things. You feel me? Y'all need him to score as well as rebound and defend. But he's broken, bro. He's broken, bro. He don't even want to show up the games anymore, bro. I get it. I get it. Y'all need the 40 million, almost 40 million for a guy who's scared to even show up and play games is kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. You know what I mean?
I
Jerome Felix,
mean,
I understand that's a biased opinion of yours, but if you gonna say Julius Randle is broken and Ben Simmons is not, I can't take your
he didn't.
sports
He didn't
take.
say Ben Simmons wasn't. He didn't say Ben Simmons wasn't broken. He didn't say
No,
that.
he said when I was talking about Ben Simmons, he put this cap. When I said Ben Simmons was broken, he put cap. And then
Oh,
he said Julius Randle was broken. So back to what I was saying. If you're going to say Ben Simmons is not broken, but you're going to say Julius Randle is broken, clearly you're biased, and I can't take your sport takes seriously. Because one thing about Julius Randle, he it was just reported that he was saying that he was 70% healthy and still playing through pain and refused to be rested by the team and continued to play. That doesn't sound like a broken player to me. That sounds like somebody's determined to get back into playing shape. Ben Simmons missing games, as your man Leaf says, sitting on the bench with a leather jacket with Michael Jackson buttons. You feel me? When I believe when he said he was 100% healthy, now he needs to be rest every 2 games in a row. Kind of crazy, right? Kind of crazy. But I digress.
yeah. Again, like I said, I don't put much on Ben Simmons. I wasn't big on Ben Simmons before he got here, and as much as I try to be a big fan of him now, I do my best. But at the end of the day, I was right about Cam Thomas, and yeah, there's going to be critique about whether or not his scoring impacts winning. But I watch every game. I don't just watch the box score. So the eye test does more than the box score, and I could tell you his scoring does impact winning. But when you rely on your best scorer to always play hero ball, and they always gotta do the most to score the ball, it's only so much they could do before the defense hops on that one player and pretty much says, okay, we're gonna stop him and someone else has to beat us. So again, I never put any loss that we have for the most part on Cam Thomas because he always shows up, and it's not just because of his scoring, it's because of his work ethic. And the significance of that from season to season is his defense. His defense got way better. He's not a cone. You cannot pick on him on a one-on-one. I've seen defenses go at him, and I've seen him hold his own. Not necessarily block the shot or steal it, but definitely he contested the shot and they missed the shot. So there's a lot more of that. But then you'll have somebody like, you know what I mean, who just 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 size wise, pause, it's just like a just a Luca or somebody like that. I seen the switch with that happen, and then he'll put Cam Thomas on the post. But in my opinion, Cam Thomas should never be on the post with a player like Luca. So his defense is way better, and the significant difference of why Cam Thomas scoring impacts winning is because he doesn't trade baskets. Just because he scores on you doesn't mean you're going to score on him. He's definitely a leader when it comes down to fitting in the system that Jock Vaughn has. He fits right in the flow. Jock Vaughn doesn't have to do anything special to go outside of what he normally or naturally wants to do as a coach. Cam Thomas has become a system player and shooting at a high clip. So again, yeah, he may not have proven himself to the likes of Randall and Jalen Brunson to say that, because he hasn't sustained this through an 82 game season, but he's definitely proved that the opportunity that he was asking for, he deserves. He started off the season red hot, averaging about like 28. He was like top 10 scoring in the first week, and I think that would continue if he wasn't injured. In the game he got injured like right around halftime, he had 14 right before the third quarter. He's on pace of being a 25 to 30 point scorer every game. You feel what I'm saying? Every night. So, I feel like the best thing as a Brooklyn Nets fan is, what I mean, hoping that he has a speedy recovery, because he's a large part on to how we are able to control the pace of the game based on scoring, have scoring droughts when he's in the game. And again, when he goes to the bench, Lonnie Walker steps up. So now we need a situation where Lonnie Walker is stepping up for Cam Thomas, which he has, and somebody stepping up for Lonnie Walker. We haven't really seen that yet. I thought Spence would go off. I thought, he might have one of these dynamic games, but I haven't seen it as of yet. But he showed me what I needed to see in what I said as a vlogger, him being a rookie, that this guy is consistent with being him. I want the Brooklyn Nets to take Cam Thomas serious as a in his career. They already signed him to next year, and I think they're gonna, as far as his rookie contract is concerned, sign that until they can't anymore. And then when he's asking for a big contract, hopefully the Brooklyn Nets consider that, give him the contract he's asking for, because you do not get a 25-point scorer with any 27th first round draft pick. This is a player that we should not let go. There are players that we did let go in the draft, like a Jared Allen. We missed even a Dame Lillard in the draft way back when. We've missed Kyle Kuzma in the draft. The same time, Jared Allen. We drafted Jared Allen and Kyle Kuzma, but then we traded away Kyle Kuzma to somewhere or something like that. So, case in point, we have missed good players in the draft, but Cam Thomas wasn't one of them. He's a star. He's an emerging star. And if we had he's the alpha player on this team, more than Mikal Bridges, more than Cam Johnson, more than any player on this team. He's the alpha player. Yes, Jock Vaughn is the biggest voice on the team, but player-wise, it's definitely Cam Thomas. So that being said, yeah, as far as his draft class, I still think he's one of the top 5 scorers from his draft class. And that's a pretty good draft class. If y'all ever seen Cam Thomas draft class, there's a lot of talent that came out of that draft class. But, ultimately, that's how I feel about Cam Thomas. Now, you say what you feel, but the next thing I'm gonna get into is the for next week, how many games and this and that and everything. But I don't know what you want to say.
What I was about to say. I was about to say that. So, I'm gonna talk about this again on next issue, but we could talk about it here because it's kind of recent. We haven't had a game in like 2 days. So there was a report going around. I forgot the reporter's name. It was a weird name that I couldn't pronounce anyway to keep it a buck, right? But he was running around on one of the big networks talking about there was a civil war in the Knicks locker room, and the locker room is divided. And he really got on TV and said these things, bro. And this is what infuriates me, bro. Part of the reason why the media is so upset with the Knicks front office about not having the media availability that they would like, because they don't have access to what's going on behind closed doors, right? That's why they really upset, because they don't know what's going on behind closed doors. They need the media availability to ask questions and be weird, right? This guy got on TV and literally made something up for clicks. And then, a day later, we win against the Spurs. The clip comes out of Jalen Brunson going around, giving his handshakes. Goes right to Julius Randle's son. They already have their own synchronized handshake. Julius Randle's son and Jalen Brunson. That don't sound like civil war to me. When you hear all these guys talk about their teammates, when the camera's on and the microphone is in their face, pause, there's always glowing reviews from everybody. They always talk about, you got Jalen Brunson being quoted. He was like, yo, they had an argument on the court. He's like, yo, these things happen. We all just want to win. And he was like, what I tell Julius Randle is like, yo, I got your back. And then Julius Randle tell me the same thing when I'm struggling. So whatever your name is, sir, keep the Knicks name out your mouth. You're doing bad business out here in these streets, trying to sully the reputation and good name of my organization and my players, bro. on straight cap. Straight cap. You shouldn't even be allowed to report anymore when you cap that hard, bro. Nasty work. Nasty work. And one more thing I want, well, two more things I want to say before we get into the schedule and the predictions. We have to leave this notion that Coach Tommy T can't develop young talent because I've heard that before. Not from saying you. I'm just saying in general, whether it be Knicks fans, mainstream media. You know what I mean? Got to leave that notion alone. Because when you talk about developing young talent, look at our roster. He got Mitchell Robinson at the age of 22 years old.
Mm.
He got RJ Barrett at the age of 20. I got Emmanuel Quickly at the age of 20. And look at all those. You can't tell me he ain't do a great job developing Mitchell Robinson, one of the best offensive rebounders in the NBA right now, and defenders, right? Can't tell me he ain't do a good job about RJ Barrett because look at the way RJ Barrett is playing so far to start this season. Can't say he didn't do a great job developing Emmanuel Quickly, right? Because look, Emmanuel Quickly is a bucket off the bench, and his and his defense is highly underrated. Like these are all young players that he had for the last 3 years that's showing steps in growth. You know what I mean? So the notion that Coach Tommy T can't develop young talent, that has to go in the trash. I said it on the last Knicks ish. I said, yo, listen, I got my disagreements with Coach Tommy T, still do, right? But I will not be the fool to argue results. People criticize his offensive schemes. Knicks was the fourth highest rating offense last season. Our offense is struggling now, and I don't think it's because of the offensive scheme. Guys are just missing shots. And we continually want a top 10 defensive team while he's around. You gotta give credit was due, and you can't argue results, man. And I digress. We can get into the whatchamacallit.
Yeah, just on that note too. Again, to what you said, same thing in my opinion for Jack Vaughn. I don't want people to overlook him in the player development department. We went strong this year, and a lot of Nets fans are consistent saying that. And let me just get this notion out the way. I said that if Ben Simmons is playing, he's healthy, he's playing at his former self, we'd be a championship contending team. Ben Simmons is not putting up the numbers or productivity for us to be a championship contending team. And that's, let me tell you why. He's not a double threat. He can't, the defense can cheat. They don't have to be honest. They know he's going to pass the ball. And them knowing that he's going to pass the ball, they know he's not a threat at the rim. So because they know that, they anticipate the pass, which leads to deflections, which leads to steals, which leads to turnovers. Case in point is he's doing the opposite of what I'm saying. He's making us a bad team, not a good team, because he's one dimensional. If he starts putting pressure on the rim and start giving us 18 and 12, 14 and 10, you know what I'm saying? 10 shot attempts a game. Look at his shot attempt selection. It's like 3 a game, 4 a game. We paying you $40 million. And I don't get into the whole money thing, but I'm just saying obligating to what we expect from you as far as what we pay you, opposed to somebody like, and this is why I dispel that, because then you got Lonnie Walker and Cam Thomas, who productivity is both better than Ben Simmons. As a matter of fact, every player on our roster might have better productivity than Ben Simmons. I don't want to throw him under the bus like that, but these guys are really out there competing, playing hard. But Ben Simmons, to what Leaf say, other fans feel, they do feel like he could be the jail. And I totally agree with that, but not in a bad way, in a good way. And he hasn't shown in a good way on a consistent basis. He's shown in a not available way how he hurts the team, or when he's dead, not consistent enough to attack the basket on why he hurts the team. So I just kind of wanted to get that out the way and say also that play development wise, Jacques Vaughn, let's not forget him, because he's been there for Cam Thomas, also a Dane Sharp. I see it in Trendon Watford. I see what they're doing with the Long Island Nets in general, because that's where they develop a lot of the players. And when they come up to the Brooklyn Nets, you know what I'm saying? I see all of this going on. I see what they're doing, and they're doing an excellent job. And again, for this season to be a player development season, and ESPN to say that we'll be 45 and 37 at the end of the season, that's right around what I said. I said 45 plus. I think with a healthy roster, we compete way tougher than we do right now. But not to be long winded, we gonna get into this to the schedules, and we also gonna get into the standings. And the reason why I like to talk about the standings, especially on this show, is because the Knicks and the Nets in the same division, and I feel like if you win this division, shit, you probably could win the championship because we got one of the toughest divisions in the NBA. So as you can see, the Brooklyn Nets are last in the division out of the 5 teams. We're the worst because we lost to the Celtics twice. Um, that being said, you get 16 division games. We got 14 more. We got 4 games with everybody else besides the no, I think we played the 76. No, we didn't. No, we did. We played the Celtics twice. That's the only division games we played. So we got all these other teams, and then we got the Boston Celtics. We all those other teams 4 times. We got the Celtics 2 more times. We gotta try to go for at least a 500 or a 10-6 in a division, and I don't see us doing that honestly without us being healthy. I think that we can compete with anybody if we're a healthy team, but as we already know, it's part of the game. We got to deal with those injuries. And again, I do like what Jacques Vaughn did, and I feel like the tougher part of our schedule was these first 10 games. But now that we going into these next, what is it? Who do we play next? Who is it? Who is it? I think we play Washington. I expect us to win that game. Who we got? We got Washington. We got yeah, we got Washington. Before we get back next week, we got 3 games. We got Washington, Orlando, and Miami. Um, Washington, no ifs, ands, and buts. This is a must win. And just to give you an idea of what we look like, we started off 0-2, losing to Cleveland, Dallas. Then we won the next 3 to Charlotte, Miami, Chicago. So we already beat Miami, and that was, should be to my knowledge, on the road. We beat Miami on the road. So when we play them again, it's going to be, or we play them on the road again. So the next 2 games are at home. But to rewind it again, we were 3-2 going into that Boston game. Then we were 3-3. Then we lost to Milwaukee. Then we were 3-4. And then we beat the Clippers and we were 4-4. And then we lost to the Celtics last night and made us 4-5. We go to play Washington on Sunday. We play again on Tuesday on Orlando. We play again on Thursday versus Miami. And all of these are good for us because they're not back-to-back situations. And shit, we got more wins on the road than we got at home. I think we got a fair chance at beating Washington, a very good chance at beating Washington. Orlando, I think they're going to compete. I don't know if what they're doing is sustainable, but I know night after night they're going to compete. They're a real confident team that beat the Celtics like twice last year, and they just got dogs on their team. You know what I'm saying? I don't think show no they show fight and they show bite. You know what I mean? They're not going to just growl and not bite. They're really going to try to go at us. Brockwell says Heroes hurt, and if that's the case, yeah, then we might have a shot. Hero hurt us bad last game. He had like 30, kept the Miami Heat in it, even though we had pretty much the pace of that game. He definitely, you know what I'm saying, was making noise. So I think it's fair to say that I'm gonna predict 3-0. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna predict that we come back 3-0. Shout out to Jerome Flex in the comments. He said 3-0. Brockwork said Orlando will be a tough test, but
Mm-hmm.
me and T Time go back and forth about whether we agree or not. I'm gonna go 3-0. What about the Knicks? Talk to me.
So tell me who you got playing again?
We got Washington the next game,
And all 3 games.
then Orlando, then Miami. That's before we come back next Saturday.
Uh, I'm gonna go 2-1. I think y'all lose to Orlando. Uh,
Okay.
and the only thing is I think y'all lose to Orlando because y'all the injuries, bro. Be perfectly honest. Orlando's playing really good basketball, even though I don't think they're gonna be able to sustain that over the whole entire season. I just think that y'all injuries is gonna be uh too much to overcome playing Orlando because they play as a complete team. Like when you look at their box score, It's not one person dominating the scoring. It's like 6, 7 people with 10 plus, most of them
Mm.
with 15 plus. You feel me? But I think I could beat Washington. They too streaky. I think they're too good of a defensive team. They play a lot of isolation basketball, and I think y'all be able to lock them up. Y'all gonna put Mikal Bridges on Jordan Poole. He gonna lock him up. And Miami, they're hurt, losing Tyler Hero is big for them, and the rest of their team is kind of poop outside of Bam and Jimmy Butler. And I haven't seen anything from Jimmy Butler yet this season that I'm like, yeah, y'all got to look out because Jimmy Butler's coming to town. He hasn't really been playing great. So
Mhm.
I give y'all that game against Miami. So I got y'all at 2-1. Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
with the Knicks, we play one, two, three, four games before we get back. First game is against the Hornets tomorrow. I think we absolutely smoked the Hornets. Uh, absolutely smoked them.
Everybody, you
Mostly
don't
because
think that's gonna be a good matchup for Mitch, Mark Williams?
hell nah. who? Who? Who?
All
Who? Yeah,
right.
Mark Williams packed up just like that whole team gonna be packed up. Uh, Again, the Hornets play no defense, and the Knicks is the number 2 ranked defense in the league thus far, right? And you see the way RJ is playing is another game where I feel like they don't have nobody that can match up against Julius Randle. Is another opportunity for him to get back into rhythm. And Mitchell Robinson's going to dominate the glass. So I got us winning that game. Boston Celtics, we played them on Monday. Is a back-to-back situation. Uh, the fandom in me is saying that we win this game, but common sense is saying coming off another back-to-back, uh, look at how well the Boston Celtics is playing. It's hard for me to 100% say that we win this game. So just to try to sound unbiased, I'm going to say we lose to Boston, right? Even though that's going to kill me. You know what I mean? But I think we have a strong possibility to win. But if I'm marking it down as a win or a loss, for the sake of the show, I'm knocking it down as a loss. Wednesday we play the Hawks, packing them up again. Absolutely
Mhm.
packing them up again. Yeah, we have a long history of packing up the Hawks during the regular season. The
Mhm.
Hawks haven't looked impressive to me at all, uh, despite their record. Uh, tr- the way we guard Trey Young is the way we guard Trey Young over the last 2 years has been impressive. Putting what you call it, Quentin Grimes on him, lock him up. Jerome is a hater, and I'll get it. You're a Net fan. You're a hater, but you're biased and you're a hater. You just know that, right? So boom. Um, but I said we packed the Hawks
Yeah.
up, and then we
Yeah.
and then we play the Wizards on Friday. We packed them up too. Again, not a good defensive team. The Wizards, I think, with the combination of Quentin Grimes, Josh Hart, and Dante DiVincenzo guarding Jordan Poole, he's going to be ineffective. Uh, Julius Randle, well, Julius Randle usually goes off against the Wizards. They be trying to put Gafford on him, and Julius Randle always give Gafford absolute work. Um, Kyle Kuzma is not a defender at all, but he does go off, right? He does
Mhm.
go off against the Knicks sometimes, but we win. We win. We hold them under 100 points, just like we're gonna hold the Hornets under 100 points. Uh, I don't hate you, Jerome. I just hate your takes, bro. They nasty. I never hate you, bro. Got no problems with you, good brother. You know what I mean? I just hate your
Mhm.
takes. It's nasty work. Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
yeah.
it's always like that,
So,
Rome. Trust me. I
so
want for
yeah,
one, I want to say that it's never hate to the person. It's always basketball talk. If it's
yeah,
any kind of
facts.
personal talk, trust me, we shy away from it, especially me.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. So we packed them up. I got us going 3-1 by the time we come back. Uh, all these back to backs that the Knicks is playing this early in the season is kind of ridiculous, bro. Uh, nah, I don't be hating. I just give my honest opinion. I give credit when credit's due. Big fan Breezy could tell you that.
Yeah,
If I feel,
yeah, except that Milwaukee series when Milwaukee, KD, and Kyrie basically said he was going for the Bucks that series. But
oh
besides
no,
that,
yo, listen, I'm always rooting for y'all to lose. Don't get that twisted. You feel
so
me?
you know what I
Yeah,
mean.
I'm always rooting for y'all to lose. But when I see things that's going, when I see things is going right and players are doing well on your team, I have no problem giving them their flowers. You feel me? Uh, but just like if I was a hater, I would have said y'all go 0-3 coming in the next week, coming in the next show, right? Uh, all good, good brother. But I said y'all gonna be 2-1. I said y'all gonna be 2-1. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's a winning record. Well, how much do I expect from a Knicks fan? He said 2-1. That's good enough for me.
Yeah.
Um, but what I will say is, looking at these standings, I don't know if it's sustainable that the Pacers are in third place. I don't know if it's sustainable that the Hawks are in fourth place. I don't know if it's sustainable that the Hawks looking at fifth place look kind of right. I mean, not the Hawks, the Bucks. They haven't been that dominant team. And again, they gained offense and lost defense. And what I will say is, I do not. I wouldn't have made that trade. Yeah, I know that Jimmy Butler whooped on Drew Holiday in those playoffs, and then Giannis has said, "No, you got to go. You got to go." Like, sit them packing. You know what I mean? We taking the bus back to Milwaukee. You have to find another way. So I don't know what happened between that situation, but I do feel like Drew Holiday is the better overall player when you contrast him to Dame Lillard. And I don't see them a top 4 team this season because of that trade. That's just my opinion. Toronto Raptors in that box, where that play-in box, I think I don't even know if that's sustainable. I think they go out. They're gonna be a play out team. I think the Cleveland Cavaliers come up, pause. But I would swap the Cleveland Cavaliers with the Toronto Raptors, and I gotta, not because I'm biased, but I gotta put the Brooklyn Nets up there a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm gonna put the Brooklyn Nets up there to like around round 6. You know, I think we're gonna be between, honestly, without health, I think we're gonna toggle between 7th and 6th. With health, I think we toggle between 5 and 2. You know, no, let me not take it that far. I think we toggle between 6 and 3. With health, I think we toggle between 6 and 3. Without health, I think we toggle around 6, 7. We at best will be a 5th seed, but realistically, I'm looking at a strong 6, maybe yeah, like a 7, maybe, but a 6 seed without health. And when you look at the record, you can see that Orlando, Toronto, and Miami and the Knicks all have the same record. So this is not far fetched. You know, yeah, we're in 10th seed because we play more games than all of the teams that I just mentioned. We played 9 games. They played um,
Hey,
8 games. And when we were 4-4, they had us at the 6th seed for one reason or another. So case in point is, I don't want Nets fans to look at this and look at it like we're a bad team. We're not. It's early in the season. We went through one of the toughest 10 games. The Brooklyn Nets might have had the toughest first 10 games this season. Now,
Cap,
I'll say that competitive wise, yeah, y'all had the back to backs, but
cap,
it's still one of the toughest 10 games. And out of the 30 teams in the NBA, we had one of the toughest schedules in these 10 games, in my opinion.
I,
That being said, it is an opinion. It can change or not change, but that's how I feel as we speak. So yeah, again, I think by this time next week we are a 6 seed. Look for us to be. We got 3 games, so at best we can be 7-5. You know, at worst 4-8. But I don't think that's our future. I think I look for us to be 6-6, 7-5, 6-6.
all right, so check it out. Looking at the standings, uh, as far as what's sustainable, my comments about the 76ers of this season was if they kept James Harden. So if they kept James Harden, they weren't going to be good, right? I think they made this trade is actually working out for the benefit of the 76ers. Do I think they stay number one? No, I think Boston takes that spot at some point. Uh,
before
but I
next
could
week.
I don't know if it's before next week. I don't know their schedule. But
Mhm.
um, at some point during the season, Boston is going to move up, right? Pacers staying where they at, absolutely not sustainable. Uh, they've had some impressive games, but I don't think that team is good enough to stay number three. The Cavaliers is absolutely not going to stay where they are. Are we just talking about before next week, or are we just talking about in general?
I was talking about more. I ain't gonna lie. I was kind of talking about in general, just looking at the
Yeah, all
standings.
right. All right, so
But
boom.
before next week, like you said, I don't know the schedule, but I was check.
So the Cavaliers definitely is going to be somewhere in the top five conversation. Uh, Milwaukee, do they stay there? I'm not sold on Milwaukee, man. The supporting cast is out there looking real old. Uh, Giannis has to do too much for them to be successful. Dame Lillard has yet to find his rhythm with the team. Do I think that he will? Maybe, but you also got to realize, but Dame Lillard's like 34 now. Like he's not a young guy anymore, bro. You know what I mean? So, like I said, their supporting cast is looking kind of old. Brooke Lopez is looking showing his age. Uh, Bobby Portis is not looking the same. Chris Middleton is looking like dirt out there. Like he he's not looking good. I think all those injuries is finally catching up to Chris Middleton because he doesn't look good out there. So Milwaukee being moving up to the top three like I expected them to, I don't know. Kind of iffy. It is possible. Kind of iffy about it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. I said, oh, the Hawks is not staying there. The Hawks is moving down as soon as next week. You feel me? We played them. We played
yeah,
them. And once we beat them, and if we have the same record, we take over their spot because that'll be twice the season that we beat them. We hold the record above them. So that's the tiebreaker, right? So the zoom back in. What you doing, man?
sure,
Who else I
got
think is moving? Uh, I'm gonna talk about the Nets. The Nets fans in the comments is gonna kill me, but I think y'all end up where Orlando is. I think y'all end up where Orlando is for real. You know what I mean? Miami, I'm not sold on Miami neither, bro. Like Miami might be a playing team as well. You feel me?
you.
Uh, Toronto, I don't know, bro. I don't know. I don't know about Toronto. I'm not sold. Scotty Barnes is playing well, but I'm still not sold on that team as a whole. I think they stay around right where they at. But yeah, Pace is definitely not gonna stay there. Uh, Pace is definitely not gonna stay there. Atlanta's not gonna stay where they're at. I think Cleveland moves up. Chicago, I think they're gonna end up some right where they at. Wizards somewhere around there too. Uh, I will be interested to see when Mal Bridges come back. What happens to the Charlotte Hornets? Because once he started dealing with what he was dealing with, they became absolute shit. Because before he got suspended and dealing with his legal issues, the Hornets were looking all right. You know what I mean? They were looking like
Mm-hmm.
a
Him, Lamelo
formidable
Ball,
team.
they had a
Yeah,
good
they
transition game. Yeah.
yeah they were looking like a formidable team. So I'm interested to see what happens when they get back, when he get back. But I don't see them being more than a playing team as well. Uh, but yeah, Celtics go to number one. Philly probably stays number two. Milwaukee somewhere around 4 or 5. The Knicks mm, between 3 and 6. You know what I mean? So far from what I'm seeing. You know what I mean? Between three and somewhere between 3 and 6. But yeah, that's how I think. You know what I mean?
Uh, yeah, no, I'm with you. It is what it is, and again, man, I I think the city is anticipating a lot. Knicks fans and Nets fans. Nets fans, I can speak for, not necessarily Knicks fans, but Nets fans definitely feel like we should be a playoff team and contender like that. So you'll get fans like being upset that we 4 and 5, and I get it. I feel the same way, but realistically, you can't expect the same output when these guys are coming off the bench. There's nobody on the team that could score like Cam Thomas. And besides our shot creators are Cam Thomas and Lonnie Walker. In my opinion, I'm this close to saying that Mikal Bridges is not a shot creator, but he can. He's just not as good as Lonnie Walker and Cam Thomas. He's actually third. Mikal Bridges is actually the third best shot creator on the team. You know what I'm saying? The two best is Cam Thomas, one, and then Lonnie Walker, two. Mikal Bridges is the third best shot creator on his team. Fans might feel a way about it, but that's just how I see it right now. You know what I'm saying? Um, Listen, at the end of the day, we're going to feel this way because we got great expectations, and that's definitely us being above 500 and going to the playoffs. So yeah, I know we're gonna, you know what I mean, feel the way that we do. Again, y'all gonna see me tomorrow at probably late. The game come on early at 3 o'clock, but I probably gotta be at work, so I won't be able to pull up until later that night. But I appreciate all the support. You know what I'm saying? Everybody that be pulling up on wee hours of the night. I know it'd be late, but y'all still pull up and show love. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to let y'all know that I appreciate that. Again, we'll try to get KvN Cook Coach in here one of these days. I see y'all in the comments going at it. I love it. You know what I mean? Yeah, and I don't want to be long winded. I know T-Town got to go to work. But yeah, I'll leave off for saying that happy birthday, Trendon Watford. That was the other day. Happy birthday, Dayron Sharp. That was the other day. Cam Thomas, I wish you a speedy recovery. And Jack Vaughn, you doing great, man. You running a 9-10 man rotation. We got like over five, we got like 6-7 players, maybe 8 players in double digits right now, averaging double digit numbers. That is the success of what we need for the Brooklyn Nets as far as coach the players. So shout to you. Shout to the Brooklyn Nets. Shout to the Brooklyn Nets fans. We the best fans.
Cap, major cap. Yeah. So I'm gonna leave off by saying, listen, man, I'm highly happy with my team because I know that we not even playing our best basketball yet, and we giving teams hell. Even the games that we lose, yeah, I mean, it's not by no major. It's not by no major margins. You feel me? Uh, and the future is looking bright, man. The future is looking bright. Coach Tommy T, I said it in the last show. Like his uh, uh, his coaching philosophy is ringing throughout the locker room. Every time you hear a Knick player get interviewed by the media, it's like listening to Coach Tommy T talk all over again. The same messages that Coach Tommy T speaks in his interviews and press conferences, all the players, especially the best players, are regurgitating the same message. And that's important when you're trying to build success, when you have all the players believing and buying into the coaching philosophy, playing both sides of the ball, contributing, even contributing to team success, even though your shots might not be falling. You can especially see those things in Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson. Because even though Jalen Brunson's not listed as a great defender, you see him out there taking charges, causing turnovers and things of that nature, still passing the ball at a high level, even though his shot's not falling. And the Knicks fans, my whole Knicks committee know who run the city. Let's go.
Oh,
And we
hold on.
gotta
One
go.
last thing. Somebody shot the Nets one. I was somewhere abroad and they had asked, they said, I was sharing a stream with a Clipper fan. He was like, when we played the Clippers, he was like, so who you think to run the city? So I was like, technically it's 3 criterias. And I was like, the Knicks, they win more home games. So maybe, and before I think I could finish, or as soon as I finished, Nets was like, fuck that. They don't run the city because we got more home wins. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Like Nets fans is not trying to hear that Knicks fans run the city because of the home, the head-to-head record. So y'all got that to get around. And that's a fair assessment. Like, yeah, you could break down the history, we could get to the championships and all that shit, but we talk about as a recent, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
This
yeah, listen, bro.
generation of basketball.
Listen, bro. Whatever y'all need the whatever one thing y'all need to hold on to make y'all feel like y'all run the city, go ahead, bro. But like I said, my whole Nick committee know we run the city. Let's go. You know what I
We'll,
mean? My
we'll
whole Nick
see.
committee know we run the city. You
We,
know what I
we,
mean?
we, we play each other soon enough. Soon
Have
enough.
have y'all even won a home game yet this season?
Yeah, we beat the Clippers. That's why I
Oh
said I
yeah, yeah,
saw.
that was at home. That was at home. All right,
That
yeah,
was
yeah.
our first home win. That was
Okay,
our first
okay,
home win.
okay, yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, man, my whole Nick community know we run the city. I'm out of here. I gotta go to work, man. Y'all be easy.
Shout out to y'all, man. Nets fans run the city, man.
Cap,
Y'all.
cap.